This block is called Lost Children, and don't be afraid of this block. I don't want you to stress over this. This is how you're going to assemble it. I'm going to turn this over. So you're going to have 8 pieces that are foundation paper pieced, and the little triangles in the center are all blue, and then all the backgrounds are green. So you're going to sew 4 that are the triangle ones, and then you're going to sew 4 that are these more rectangular ones, and you're going to sew it together into a cross. And notice, let me get a different one. I want you to notice that this one, they have sewn up to that point, and then they haven't sewn down this seam allowance. That's perfect. So you want to leave these little V areas open down to this point. All right, so after you get this sewn into a cross, then you're going to prepare your triangles that you're going to set in. And this is the right side, so on the wrong side, I want you to look and see that little X there, or a dot? You need to mark that, and the easiest way to do that is to just lay a ruler on there and make a little mark, and then lay a ruler this way and make a mark, and then that cross is where your point should be. Okay, so now you're going to need a pin, and the easiest way to do an inset seam is to just sit this right here, and it doesn't matter if you go this direction first or this, so this side or that side, whichever side you're most comfortable with is the best one to start with. So you're going to flip that over, and I am going to put a pin through that cross right there, and then I'm going to put a pin right here. I'm going to line up that straight side, and then I'm going to kind of make this pin go through nice and straight right there. And you can pin that down, and I'm getting all the seam allowances out from behind it. So if you'll look at the back, nothing is going to be in the way right there. And then I'm going to line up this side, and I can pull this because this is all bias edges. So I want to pull it to where it really fits towards that end corner. Now, when I turned this over, I noticed that this isn't lined up too good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I've got that in far enough. And if you don't sew right to the corner, it'll press okay. So just kind of guess. So get that nice and lined up, and then put in a pin. Now you can choose to sew from this side or from this side, whichever is easiest for you. I do like to back stitch, so the best way to do that is to start out here, back stitch, or you can even start here and sew towards the corner, leave your needle in there, turn, and sew back out. So do you understand how you're sewing forward the whole time, but you're just going to do a few stitches into the corner, then turn and go out the other way. So you're going to sew one seam from this dot out, and then you're just going to, this will be sewn right here. And you can just take that fabric and you can kind of open up this on the back, twist this, and line it up with that new side. And this time you're going to sew from the dot on this side, that direction. And here again, sew whichever side is most comfortable for you at the machine. You can sew from this end or you can sew from this end, whichever is most comfortable. And so all those 4 little corners are inset seams. And this block should measure 8.5 inches when you're done. So one little tip that I do want to show you. Go back to this finished one. Inset seams right here at this inset corner, they are all going to look fantastic when your quilt is done. Don't stress over it too much. It's better And look at the pressing. You press them whichever way they seem to want to go, whichever is easiest. And so if these little seam allowances are not sewn down into a seam, then you can take them to the back and you can kind of press them whichever way looks best or which feels best. And so Julie made this block and she did a great job. So here she's opened seams, here she's got them pointed in. It doesn't really matter. There is no right and wrong on the pressing. I did the inset seams on this one, and I liked all of them going in, but it kind of was thick right here. And so you can choose to open that. Whichever way you choose or whichever seems to be the path of least resistance is your best choice. And if you don't get the stitching right into that exact corner, that's okay. If you stop one stitch short and you do a little back stitch, it's not going to come undone, and the pressing will take care of the way that it lays. So this block is an 8.5 inch block, and it is called Lost Children. Don't be overwhelmed by it. The thing that you're going to probably be the most frustrated with is lining up this point with that V. So just pin that well when you sew this little section to this top section. And if you wanted to, you could just sew across there like with a basting stitch, open it up, see if it's good. If it is good, then sew the whole seam together and you'll be happy with that. It's a super cute block.